Mr. Betkowski.
Here.
Mr. DeMarco. Here. Mr. Dewar.
Here.
Ms. Filiaggi. Here. Mr. Fatulis. Here. Ms. Hallam. Mr. Klein.
Here.
Mr. Macy.
Here.
Ms. Nacarati Chapkus.
Here.
Mr. Palmieri.
Here.
Mr. Paul Messina.
Here.
Ms. Pritzio. Mr. Walton.
Here.
President Katina.
Here.
As of now, we have 12 members present.
Thank you. At this point in time, we'll have the 2024 Comprehensive Fiscal Plan presentation. Mr. County Executive. Drop it.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Before I get started, I did want to thank the Budget Department and County Manager Liptak, Deputy Manager Pilarski, and the work that went into this. I know I present this every year at this meeting, but there's an awful lot of work from our department heads and others who go into this budget which we'll be presenting tonight. So I did want to acknowledge them before we began. And as I present my 12th and final budget, I'm proud of the fact that this budget, like the other 11, is fiscally sound and helps move this region forward. This budget, like the others, contains no millage increase, i.e. no tax increase, and keeps a healthy rainy day fund, our fund balance. And to put these budgets in perspective and in context, when I took office in 2012, the average sale price of a home in Allegheny County was $100,000. Those homeowners were paying $388 in county property tax. 12 years later, that same house is now worth, on average, about $250,000, but those homeowners are still paying $388 in county property tax. It would be nearly impossible to find anything that is the same price now as it was in 2012. Not a cup of coffee, a car, a pair of shoes, clothes, a sandwich, health care, rent, gym membership, you get the picture. Everything we have has gone up except for the county property tax. But in producing these fiscally responsible budgets, we've also increased our fund balance from $5.9 million in 2012 to over $53 million now. And having a healthy fund balance, or a healthy rainy day fund, has allowed us to continue serving the public even when we hit fiscal storms, when the rain came, so to speak, came down pretty hard. Revenues went away during the state budget impasse of 2016, and other counties had to close their senior centers and stop other services because they weren't able to support them. We did not. We were able to keep running and keep serving the public. We did the same thing during the pandemic, when again revenues dropped and the county had to offset these losses. Our Wall Street rating agency, Standard & Poor's and Moody's, both have evaluated our finances and elevated our bond rating to the highest it has been in over 40 years. And this has saved the taxpayer millions of dollars in borrowing costs for the capital projects that we do. And while keeping a low and stable tax rate, we've invested in jobs, infrastructure, and quality of life. Job opportunities continue to grow in this diversified economy in Allegheny County, with more opportunities in more industries than at any time in our county's history. Our unemployment rate is historically low, 3%, the lowest it has been in over half a century. In fact, we have over 50,000 jobs that are unfilled right now in this region. And according to the last census, as people know, Allegheny County's population grew for the first time in over 60 years. And it's growing in young people and in diversity. This county saw a 20% increase in its 25 to 34 young adult population, nearly twice the national average, reflecting that we're keeping our young people and that new young people are coming. We've also seen a nearly 80% increase in our Hispanic and Asian American populations during that time period. These last 11 budgets have invested in infrastructure and in our parks. When I took office, 72 of our 305 bridges that were over 8 feet long were rated, quote unquote, poor by the rating agencies. With careful planning and execution, and by investing in equipment and our personnel, we will be down to 5 poor-rated bridges at the end of this budget. And by the end of next year, as we've outlined in this budget, we will be at 0. And when you think about fixing all those poor-rated bridges, it's something that we have a lot to be proud of. I want to thank Councilman Macy, who I know chaired for many of those years, the Public Works Committee on Council, and he was really diligent in working with us since the very beginning. His foresight to support and fix those bridges has ensured that, thankfully, we have had on our county structures not the type of issues that we've seen on Route 30 or in Fern Hollow. And the same goes for our roads. We in county government are responsible for over 400 miles of county roads. And the civil engineering standards call for paving 10% of your roads every year. That means 40 miles a year. Prior to 2012, we had never been able to meet that mark. But in the last decade, we've paved 414 miles of our roads, catching up on roads that had not been done before. This proposed budget will also keep us on that path. Park improvements have probably been the most noticeable by the general public. During that time, we have planted 12,000 trees. It was a goal of mine to plant over 1,000 trees a year, and we've done that. We've been painting, repairing, upgrading our shelters, our pavilions, our dog parks, our benches, our ice skating rinks, ski slopes, golf courses, trails, swimming pools, concert venues, meadows, and more. And these improvements have been noticed by 23 million visits that we get every year, people who come to our 9 county parks. And we've also invested in sustainability. 2 of our 9 parks are now going to be net zero, meaning they produce more energy than they consume. The solar panels and other sustainable energy work done by our facilities workers will allow White Oak and Deer Lakes Park to, again, produce more energy than they consume. And we've also invested in trails, including providing financial support for over 150 miles of new trails, including those along our rivers and creeks and streams. And we've also invested in connecting communities to each other and working with our municipal partners, River Life, Friends of the Riverfront, and other stakeholders to improve biking and mobility upon our trails. And while growing the economy, creating jobs, and investing in our infrastructure and quality of life, we have vastly improved our air quality. Planting those 12,000 trees, working with partners like the Green Building Alliance, Sustainable Pittsburgh, and other stakeholders, and supporting our health department as it enforces air regulations has resulted in an 80% drop. Let me repeat that, an 80% drop in hazardous air pollutants. And for the first time in our county's history, we have made attainment in all 8 of our air monitors. In 2020, we did it for the first time. Then we did it again in 2021. And we did it even better again last year in 2022. And this year, we're on track to do even better than those 3 years previously. In addition, one of the things that was brought up a lot when I was taking office were asthma visits by young adults. I will be glad to note that our hospital visits for asthma in young adults have been reduced by 87% over the last 12 years. And we've consistently invested in sustainability, recycling, et cetera. Over 600,000 pounds of cardboard, paper, and other materials just in the last 5 years, and have been committed to, and actually we've committed to producing our own energy with the construction of a hydroelectric plant, on the Emsworth Lock and Dam. Water from our rivers, not fossil fuels, will be lighting and powering our buildings in the years to come. We also have other agencies, regardless of our, beyond our departments, and a couple I want to highlight tonight, CCAC and the airport. The relationship that CCAC has created with businesses, like some of the ones we're reading about, like EOS and McConway and Torley, and even the Rivers Casino, has allowed the college to work hand in hand with employers and job seekers to provide training and the certification needed for those opportunities that are existing, as I mentioned before, connecting those job seekers to family-sustaining jobs. Over the last 20 years, a total of $375 million has been committed to CCAC in county support. This funding also reflects the impact of an ordinance that I co-sponsored when I was on council as a member back in 2009. That ordinance, enacted in November of that year, required an additional 2% appropriation each year. The law memorialized that commitment in the administrative code. The county hasn't limited its support only to operating funds. We've also invested in capital, but we've also partnered with the college in meeting those needs. Since 2009, $12.5 million in county funding has been committed for capital projects. And recognizing the impact on COVID back in 2020, the county provided an additional $3.7 million in CARES fund for the college. And throughout the years, the county has provided other funding to meet a variety of needs, totaling $13.4 million over the last 20 years. And additionally, the county has also committed $5 million in funds to the Workforce Development and Training Center, which is currently under construction over on the main campus. The 50,000 square foot, 3-story workforce training center will position students to have the skills they need to fill the most in-demand and growing industries in this region, giving them even more opportunities in this community. We expect to celebrate the completion of that facility later this month. We've also created a new endowment scholarship through a $10 million allocation that is offered through the CCAC Educational Foundation. The Allegheny County Dr. Charles J. Martoni Endowed Scholarship is available to students who are experiencing financial need. And these funds have been, in fact, impactful. In fact, CCA students pay the lowest per credit cost of any county-sponsored community college in the state. Let me repeat that, lower than anybody. $126 per credit, and it's, again, as I said, the lowest in the state. And when you take into consideration the fact that Allegheny County is a higher cost of living than counties surrounding us, that makes that tuition rate even more impactful. Just to compare, again, we're at $126. Some of our regional colleges around us, Beaver County, it's $182 per credit. Butler County, $130. Erie County, $160. Westmoreland County, $140. Students in Harrisburg pay over $200 per credit, and students in Philadelphia pay $159. And contrary to a narrative that students are paying more than they should under the state code, CCAC's own audited statements show that the student share is below the required cap. It has decreased since 2019, which was below it even then, when it was 31%, to a low of 21% now in fiscal year 2022. And finally, I want to move on to the Airport Authority. And while the Airport Authority doesn't require county tax dollars, including with the TMP that we're building, it's obviously an important part of the aspect. In fact, when I ran 12 years ago, I think that was question number one at just about every forum that I appeared at. And again, while the county's Airport Authority doesn't operate with tax dollars, the topic of air service and making the airport better for Pittsburgh was huge and continues to be. And we've made significant strides, and I'd like to highlight just a few of them. Air service development has gone up 70% since I took office. Before I took office, you could get to 36 cities directly. We're now up to 61. And they provide passengers with more options, more cost comparisons, and more convenience. This includes expanded West Coast connections with Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. In addition to having more destinations, the airport has also welcomed new carriers, including the ultra-low-cost carriers, to give a savings to our traveling public, and also including the notable return of British Airways and their nonstop transatlantic service to London Heathrow after 2 decades of being away. The airport has also been successful in that work by utilizing several corporations and leading business delegations to gain new domestic and international air service. The improved passenger experience has also included the building of Presley's Place, an acclaimed space at Pittsburgh International Airport designed to make air travel easier for people with autism and sensory sensitivities. Celebrated nationally for its positive global impact. And we've integrated cutting-edge tech solutions into our operations, like Sensors AI, for people to be able to calculate how long their wait time is through TSA. The terminal modernization program is the biggest visual thing that people see when they go out there, and we're building the airport of the future to meet the needs of this market and the people in southwestern Pennsylvania. We're on track for a 2025 opening. The billion-dollar TMP modernization plan of a new pre-security building and multimodal complex that includes 3,300 space parking garage, car rental center, parking lots and roads, built by Pittsburghers for Pittsburgh. The program's generating about $2.5 billion in economic activity, and as I said, no local tax dollars are going into that, for a total of more than 14,000 jobs. It is being built, as I said, by Pittsburgh workers for Pittsburgh travelers. More than 1,000 construction workers are on site daily in this year, and the steel for this new terminal has also been made here locally in Ambridge, PA, and Beaver County. The airport is also focused on sustainability. In its new terminal and beyond, the new airport will be at least LEED certified silver. The project has implemented recycling and reused construction waste, including 86,000 tons of crushed concrete for the new roads. It is a first in the world microgrid. We're the first ones in the world to completely power our own operations. The airport's using the on-site natural gas and nearly 10,000 solar panels, the largest solar panel field in the region. And that work has boosted the airport's resiliency, reduced carbon emissions by more than 6 million pounds, and saved more than $1 million per year in utility costs. And the solar farm was built atop a closed landfill, land that wouldn't have been otherwise suitable for development. Their partnerships and work have also empowered our workforce to go further. The airport's on-site child care center is a unique amenity among U.S. airports, demonstrating a genuine commitment to workforce well-being and ensuring airport and TMP construction workers are well supported, and obviously was a big hit when the First Lady actually came here a few months ago to highlight just that. The project also provided the opportunity to launch comprehensive workforce development initiatives, including job training programs in collaboration with local entities like Partner for Work and the Builders Guild. And the airport also continues to make every square foot matter. Its work around real estate development showcased the airport's significant contributions, being the 8th largest in the U.S. by land mass and fostering over $500 million in private investment, which helped us to create or retain over 7,000 jobs. The airport launched Neighborhood 91 in 2019, creating a unique additive manufacturing ecosystem with an anticipated $1 billion local economic impact. Shortly after, they welcomed their first tenant, Wabtec, a great Pittsburgh company from many years ago, and 6 other companies into this space. And they've also focused on cargo development to great effect. The authority received a federal build grant, first for an airport with our bipartisan congressional delegation working on that to get those funds. The first state-of-the-art cargo facility at the international airport in decades. And the work has also initiated support for new worldwide cargo and freight carriers to Pittsburgh International Airport, including the expansion of the domestic air cargo and the new air service of Amazon Air. With that, Mr. President, I have the budget I wish to present and give to the clerk and ask to be placed on the agenda for this evening and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions this evening? Councilwoman Hallam?
Thank you, President Katina. So year after year, the jail has been way over budgeted for. But yet we have the highest per capita death rate in Pennsylvania and one of the highest per capita death rates of any county jail in the entire country. So why do you think that you weren't able to fix that over the past 12 years despite spending around $100 million on it every year?
Well, actually, we don't have one of the highest per capita either in the state or in the country. We're right about in the middle. In fact, over the last year, when we brought NCCHC come into town, we've only had one fatality since last September that occurred up in the cells. We've had a couple of intake fatalities when people come in with fentanyl and overdosed, and we've also made great improvements on suicides. There hasn't been a suicide in 3 years. It was an issue years ago. So the improvements have been made. People may disagree. We're also one of the only county jails in the state to get accredited year after year after year. I think maybe 2 or 3 that get that accreditation for best practices. And it's a challenge, and it's something that hopefully the next county executive and warden will be able to tackle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Councilwoman?
Thank you very much for the presentation. My question is related to federal funding. So with the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure bills, do you anticipate that the county will be able to secure additional funding from either of those 2 sources, perhaps moving forward into the next year? Or is there funding that's built into this budget that's being proposed that the county has already received from either of those sources?
Well, any money that's built into this budget is money that has been appropriated and allocated and approved. There will be additional funding from the infrastructure bill, from the IRA bill, from the CHIPS and Jobs Act, and other legislation that's come out over the last couple of years. And certainly, it'll be incumbent upon our federal delegation and local elected officials from my successor and others to go and get those funds. And it's been something we've actually been pretty successful about. I mentioned the Build grant, but we've had Tiger grants. We've probably got more grants over the last 10 or 12 years than other counties and other regions of our size. And now that there's actually more money that's been appropriated with the largest infrastructure bill that we've had in decades, we're hopeful as that money comes out for roads, bridges, broadband, water lines, sewer lines, et cetera, infrastructure, that we get our fair share.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions this evening? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Executive.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
So is there a motion to amend our agenda to include all of the budget bills this evening? Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Jared, please take a roll call vote.
And the motion to amend the agenda, Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Betkowski.
Yes.
Mr. DeMarco. Yes. Mr. Dewar.
Yes.
Ms. Filiaggi.
Yes.
Mr. Fatulis.
Yes.
Ms. Hallam.
No.
Mr. Klein.
Yes.
Mr. Macy.
Yes.
Ms. Nacarati Chapkus.
Yes.
Mr. Palmieri.
Yes.
Mr. Palmacina.
Yes.
Ms. Pritzio. Mr. Walton.
Yes.
President Katina.
Yes.
Ayes 14, noes 1, the motion passes.
Okay. Proclamations/certificates.
I apologize. Before we proceed, would you like to refer those to committee?
I was going to do it when we actually got to the assignments and we were going through the rest
Gotcha.
of them.
Okay.
Okay, but, I mean, they're all going to budget and finance for the.
Understood.
Okay. Proclamations and certificates. Both proclamations will be read into the record. 12817-23.
A proclamation recognizing South Hills Area Council of Governments, SHACOG, upon the momentous occasion of their 50th anniversary, sponsored by Councilmembers Hallam, DeMarco, Betkowski, Dewar, Katina, Palmieri, Macy, Klein, and Palmacina.
12818-23.
A proclamation celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Pittsburgh-Matanzas Sister Cities Partnership, sponsored by Councilmembers Pritzio, Hallam, Betkowski, Katina, Palmieri, Nacarati Chapkus, Macy, Klein, Palmacina, Bennett, and the Chief Executive.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on agenda items?
No,
Okay, approval of minutes?
we have none.
Okay. Presentation of appointments.
Also none.
Unfinished business. Committee on Appointment Review for the second reading. 12805-23.
Approving the reappointment of Lassans Heard Montgomery to the Board of Property Assessment Appeals and Review for a term to expire on September the 8th, 2026, sponsored by Councilmember Katina.
Councilmember Nacarati Chapkus.
President Katina, the Committee on Appointment Review met on October the 4th, 2023, and affirmatively recommended Ms. Montgomery to this position, and I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Jared, please take a roll call vote.
On the motion to approve, Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Betkowski.
Yes.
Mr. DeMarco. Mr. Dewar.
Yes.
Ms. Filiaggi.
Yes.
Mr. Fatulis.
Yes.
Ms. Hallam.
No.
Mr. Klein.
Yes.
Mr. Macy.
Yes.
Ms. Nacarati Chapkus.
Yes.
Mr. Palmieri.
Yes.
Mr. Palmacina.
Yes.
Ms. Pritzio. Mr. Walton.
Yes.
President Katina.
Yes.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The appointment passes.
Committee on the Parks for the second reading. 12775-23.
An ordinance of the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, authorizing Land Reclamation Group, LLC, an environmental services company, to enter onto county property for the purpose of completing a stream restoration project at Pearson Run in the county's Boyce Park, sponsored by the Chief Executive.
Thank you. Vice President Palmieri.
Mr. President, thank you, members of council. We met on the 4th of October last week about this restoration project, and it met with a affirmative recommendation from the rest of the committee, and I move for approval.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no such discussion, Jared, please take a roll call vote.
On the motion to approve, Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Betkowski.
Yes.
Mr. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Dewar.
Yes.
Ms. Filiaggi.
Yes.
Mr. Fatulis.
Yes.
Ms. Hallam.
Yes.
Mr. Klein.
Yes.
Mr. Macy.
Yes.
Ms. Nacarati Chapkus.
Yes.
Mr. Palmieri.
Yes.
Mr. Palmacina.
Yes.
Ms. Pritzio. Mr. Walton. President Katina.
Yes.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill passes.
Thank you. Are there any liaison reports this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on. New business, ordinances and resolutions. 12819-23.
An ordinance of the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Article 209 of the Administrative Code of Allegheny County, entitled Office of Property Assessments, Section 5-209.05, entitled Chief Assessment Officer, Duties and Responsibilities, in order to establish a mechanism for ensuring continuity in the Chief Assessment Officer position, sponsored by Councilmembers Katina and Nakaradi Chapkus.
That will go to the Special Committee on Assessment Practices. 12820-23.
An ordinance of the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, authorizing the acceptance of the donation of walk-through Garrett metal detectors from PSSI Stadium LLC for the use of the 5th Judicial District of Pennsylvania, the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas, primarily in the magisterial district courts within the 5th Judicial District that can accommodate these metal detectors, sponsored by the Chief Executive.
That will go to the Committee on Public Works. 12821-23.
A resolution of the County of Allegheny amending the grants and special accounts budget for 2023, submission number 03-23, sponsored by the Chief Executive.
That will go to Budget and Finance. New business motions. 12822-23.
A motion of the Council of Allegheny County authorizing the publication of requests for proposals for information technology solutions within the Office of County Council, sponsored by Councilmember Katina.
That's going to go to the Executive Committee. Notification of contracts. 12823-23.
A communication summarizing approved executive actions for the month of September 2023.
Is there a motion to file?
Receive and file, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comment on general items.
We have several. First up is Juliette Savant.
Is it on? Yeah, okay. So I'm here to talk about redistricting reform. When county council districts are redrawn after each U.S. census, county council shouldn't be the ones drawing the maps of their own districts. The conflict of interest is obvious. It's the opposite of good governance. We need fair rules governing redistricting. You need to pass the redistricting reform bill number 12534-22 that's been stuck in committee for 2 years. What's the rush, you say? There won't be another redistricting for years. That's what every legislature across the country says when they want to block reform and keep the power to gerrymander. But the years go by, and when redistricting is around the corner, their excuse changes. No, we can't possibly pass redistricting reform now. There's too much at stake. I've followed attempts to pass redistricting reform for 15 years. It doesn't matter which political party dominates the legislature, they both say the same thing and oppose good governance the same way you are. What you're doing confirms another observation of mine, namely that many politicians really believe in benign dictatorships more than they believe in fair rules. They believe in their own benign dictatorship. I have everybody's best interest at heart, they say. So just let me keep the power to draw the lines. But I personally do not believe in any kind of dictatorship. I spent too many years working in countries with unaccountable governance. Pass redistricting reform for the sake of the people of Allegheny County. But if fair rules and good governance don't carry weight with you, then consider your own self-interest. Just imagine how a political challenger can make campaign slogans out of your actions favoring your own power and self-interest and your failure to support good governance and the people of this county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next up is Deborah Fayok.
I believe you know how to pronounce that name. Hi. Oh my God, I have such a loud voice to begin with. I'm here today to talk with you about a subject that is in the best interests of we, the people of Allegheny County, as opposed to what appears to be in the best interests of you, the elected council of Allegheny County. I'm talking about enacting the kind of good governance that every single council person at one time or another has claimed to be adamantly for. Transparency, fairness, eliminating conflicts of interest, establishing a rule of law or procedure, eliminating cronyism. In short, the kind of government that we, the people, deserve. Due to the recent census and subsequent establishment of county districts, I wondered what the reapportionment process was for Allegheny County. As someone who has fought against gerrymandering on a state and federal level, I was astonished to learn that, in fact, there is no established, consistent process. The procedure is entirely at the discretion of one person, the county council president. At some point, council folks apparently get together, fight it out, sometimes behind closed doors, depending on what the president wishes. And voila, districts are established. I wonder, where's the transparency, the fairness, the lack of cronyism or conflict of interest? Where's a rule of ordinance guiding the proceeding? Who exactly does this non-process serve best? We the people or you the council? I then learned that in 2021, Ordinance 12534-22 was proposed by Councilpersons Dewar and Filiaggi to address this lack. It has languished in the Government Relations Committee ever since. I am mystified as to why, but I am not privy to what I can only imagine are the politics behind this lack of action. Because why not support a bill that sets up parameters and a timeline for open meetings with minutes, transparency, creates standards for who could serve on the Redistricting Advisory Committee, cutting down on political gamesmanship and conflicts of interest, was vetted by experts at the Brennan Center for Justice and the Public Interest Law Center, who have already met with county council, from my understanding, and it complies with state law. I'm asking you to remove the barrier that has prevented this bill from getting out of committee and put it up for a vote. If the bill is not put up for a vote, I would like to know why not. In these divided times, when people are generally suspicious of their legislators' inaction, this lack of action is not a good look for council. I, the citizen, am asking Council President Pat Katina, at-large members Sam DeMarco and Bethany Hallam, and you, the council, to get on board immediately with what is in the best interests of we, the people. An end to gerrymandering at every level of Pennsylvania government, including Allegheny County, is what will serve us best. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next up is Donald Breitbarth.
Good evening. My name is Don Breitbarth, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of one of my colleagues, Jason Nadsom, who's the Skilled Trade Department Chair at our West Hill Center, who could not be here tonight because he's covering for a sick colleague. Our coworker Bob Cook recently spoke with you about the West Hill Center. Today, I'd like to tell you more about two of our most popular programs at the West Hill Center: welding and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, otherwise known as HVAC. When you drive through Allegheny County and notice any large metal structure being built, or you see a commercial rooftop air conditioner being hoisted onto a new building, chances are some of those employees are CCAC graduates. Through your support of CCAC, you are not only supporting the aspirations of our students by training them for family-sustaining jobs, but you are literally bolstering the foundation of our local communities and industries. Over the past decade, Allegheny County has seen a remarkable surge in the demand for skilled workers, such as welders and HVAC technicians. The programs at CCAC have been at the forefront of meeting this demand by producing job-ready graduates. In fact, CCAC's job placement rates for welding and HVAC graduates have consistently exceeded 90%, many of these jobs being local here in Allegheny County. Investment in these programs has led to highly skilled and adaptable workforce. This has attracted businesses to the region, which in turn has contributed to the county's economic vitality. CCAC has also been successful in establishing strong partnerships with local businesses and industries, providing students with invaluable employment opportunities. These collaborations ensure CCAC graduates are not only job ready, but also aligned with the specific needs of the local job market. Allegheny County also faces environmental challenges. Trained HVAC technicians from CCAC have been instrumental in making residential and commercial buildings more energy efficient, reducing energy consumption and environmental impact. CCAC's welding and HVAC programs have also been champions of diversity and inclusivity with the trades, welcoming individuals from all backgrounds and demographics. This commitment to equity strengthens our community and ensures equal access to opportunities. To truly support these programs, we also need to provide state-of-the-art training facilities and equipment to ensure CCAC students are learning on the latest industry standard technology. But that equipment and technology make these programs expensive to maintain. We have offset these costs by increasing student lab fees, but this puts an unfair burden on our students. Increased funding from Allegheny County can help ease that burden. With increased funding, you will be investing in our educators by offering funding for professional development to attract and retain the best instructors. In conclusion, CCAC's welding and HVAC programs are two of the cornerstones of the college and our community, providing pathways to success for our students and contributing to the growth and prosperity of Allegheny County. With the council's support and commitment, we can increase the prosperity of our students, the vibrancy of our local communities, and the strength of our local industries. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next is Ann George.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Ann George, and I am a registered nurse, and I've taught for CCAC for 7 years, but I've been a nurse for like 4 times that, maybe, or some more. Currently, I am the North Campus Nursing Lab Coordinator, and daily, I experience the need for more lab space with the capability to provide that cutting-edge, technology-driven patient care simulations, that match what the patients or what the nurses see daily. I live in the city of Pittsburgh, not far from AGH, and County Council District 3, and Anita Pritzio is my representative. North Campus is located in North Council District 1, and our representative is Jack Benkowski. Let me move on. If you or a loved one have ever been hospitalized, you understand the extensive knowledge and skills required of a registered nurse to keep his or her patients safe. These nurses gained this knowledge during their nursing lecture courses. Then they took what they learned to the skills lab and practiced. In order to improve our students' education, technology-driven simulation in our nursing lab is greatly needed. Right now, I think we're in 20th century or so. However, the space allocated to the nursing lab at North Campus is currently not adequate to support the technology required to bring the lab to where it needs to be. Our Assistant Dean of Nursing, Julie Paul, graduated from CCAC North Campus in 1999, and she will tell you that the nursing lab has not changed. To allow us to continue creating knowledgeable, skilled, and safe RNs to work in our community, we believe it is important that we increase our lab space at North Campus to allow for more mannequins, simulations, and related equipment to provide effective skills practice for our students. This will require a substantial amount of money to renovate and outfit a nursing lab space to provide the skills practice required for RNs practicing in the 21st century. The latest mannequin technology allows for high-quality patient care and critical thinking skills simulation. That's what we want. Unfortunately, these mannequins are costly. Increased funding next year would give nursing faculty increased skills lab space and technology to provide students with the skills they need to safely care for their patients in a highly technologically driven healthcare environment. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you on a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
Next is Art Nzinga.
Good evening. My name's Arden Zinga. I'm a chef instructor and the coordinator of the culinary program at CCAC, and also a graduate of the very first culinary class that graduated from CCAC in 1977. Still looking good after all those years, huh? I'd like to come and thank you for your support of CCAC, and in particular, the financial support that you provided for the new Center for Education, Innovation, and Training at CCAC's Allegheny campus. In addition to the culinary arts program, this new state-of-the-art facility will be home to cutting-edge workforce programs like advanced manufacturing, which contains programming in robotics, 3D printing, computer-controlled machining, and new programs in cybersecurity and network administration. This new facility is going to give our culinary students an opportunity to work with the latest equipment, and it also allowed us to expand into a food service restaurant management program and a baking and pastry arts program. This new center is going to allow CCAC to be the premier provider of food service education in the region. Your continued support has a direct positive impact on the greater Pittsburgh region. Food is so much more than simply fuel for the body. The quality of life of an area is directly related to the food culture of that area, and CCAC has a positive effect on that. I'd like to highlight some of our graduates. Marty Sidorchek, the executive sous chef at Oakmont Country Club. Travis Galich, executive sous chef at Chartiers Country Club. Ala Familia's corporate executive chef, Gary Kleinfelter, was educated at CCAC. Chef Keith Butler, a graduate of CCAC, teaches culinary arts at Bidwell Training Center on the north side. Tyann Buggs from East Liberty is a pastry chef at D'Anoia's in the Strip District. We've been around for 50 years. I could go on and on about our graduates and how they feed us and increase the reputation of Pittsburgh as a foodie town. But I'd like to end by asking you to support our president, Dr. Bullock, when he comes in for his budget request at an upcoming meeting. Whenever I walk up here in the white coat, I'm always asked, what did you bring us to eat? So I'm happy to, my colleague does have some cookies here that our students prepared for you. So please make sure that you enjoy those, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Next up is Joseph Klepek.
Good evening, esteemed members of County Council. My name is Joseph Klepek. I reside at 819 Broadway Avenue in East McKeesport. I come to speak out this evening to show how disappointed I am with the disrespectful comments said by Councilwoman Hallam against Judge Housey earlier this year, and recently against the former warden, Orlando Harper. She has proven time and time again that, to me and many residents who have reached out to me, that she has no respect for this council, and frankly has no respect for each one of you. She also has no respect for the residents who elected her of Allegheny County. She has also shown disrespect to the Jail Oversight Board members, Sheriff Kraus, Controller O'Connor, County Executive Fitzgerald, and its chairman, Judge Elliott Housey, and has said on social media, several social media platforms, to come and cause a ruckus. And they did. And it's not right, and it makes me upset. And frankly, I consider her a bully, and it needs to stop. She's even tried to strong-arm me and belittle me as well. The lawsuit against Sheriff Krause, Controller O'Connor, and Executive Fitzgerald is baseless and disrespectful. Why can't you show up to meetings late, Ms. Hallam? Why can you miss meetings, Ms. Hallam? You have been absent at several meetings on several different occasions. In closing, I am requesting that this body to explore the possibility of vote on censure, again, of Ms. Hallam and the possibility of removal of this council. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
The only other individual who signed up is Jacob Poole.
Not here. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries.